Oh, look at all these kisses. Oh, 1 kiss, 2 kiss. Oh, maybe
1, 2,
3
3,
kisses.
4,
We
5,
forgot
6,
1
7,
kiss.
8, 9, 10,
Yeah.
11, 12. Dear Shandy. Welcome back to another Dear Shandy Ultimatum recap, listeners. Hello, Andy.
Hello.
How are you today?
I'm good.
Doing good.
Yes,
Are you
doing
excited?
well. I am.
This is our last episode of 2024.
This is it.
What a year
It
it has
ended.
been. Yes.
It's over. That's it. We're done. Can we just end a year and be done? That's it?
Be done with what?
Just done. Like you're done for good for a while.
Sounds ominous.
Just, no, not dead.
Done for a while.
Not dead. Just taking a break.
Yeah.
Like just take a year off.
I
Not
mean,
take the year off like a vacation. Just the year doesn't happen. You're just done with the
yeah,
years.
but where are you when the year doesn't happen? Are you
not
floating
sure.
in some like middle
I haven't
place,
worked out the details yet.
some abyss in between 2024 and 2025?
It's like I'm thinking of like a cryo tank.
Didn't you tell me once that they tried to do that with Disney, or Disney tried to do
Well,
that?
Walt Disney, I think, as legend has it,
Yeah.
wanted to freeze himself because he thought maybe one day they would figure out how to like reanimate people.
Okay.
And I think he's still frozen.
Really?
Yeah.
So
and I don't
what's
think
the
there's
deadline?
a good prognosis for Walt Disney.
But what's the deadline? Like, what's the date where they're like, okay, now's the
That's
time?
a great question. But I mean, Walt Disney, I don't think is lacking cash. So I assume the monthly fees for keeping Walt Disney frozen are very easily kept up.
Yeah, but what year? I want to know what year.
Oh, there is no year. It's the year that they figure out how to unfreeze people and make them alive again.
Oh, so they haven't tried.
No, they have not tried. Trust me. But whoever's running that plant is very happy with the monthly check they're getting.
Very rich, very
Yeah, they're like,
happy.
oh yeah, no, it's coming soon,
we're
right around
working
the
on
corner.
it.
Yeah, we're thinking fourth quarter 25. We're gonna get them
I
back.
swear, every day working on it real hard. Okay, well, Andy, we have an ultimatum finale and reunion to get to today.
We do.
And I gotta say, before we get going, not to spoil anything, we like this show. We like it a lot.
It's a good show.
We declared last night while watching that this is our favorite show that we recap.
I was playing it cool, but I was very excited to watch episodes.
Yes. Every time there was some new episodes, we were like, watch some Ultimatum. And I mean, it's not like we drag our feet with watching any of the shows that we recap. Obviously, this is a very fun thing to do.
Yeah.
But I got to say, as you said early on in our recaps.
We dragged our feet with Perfect Match.
Yeah, we did drag our
I
feet with
dreaded
Perfect Match. I was
those.
lying. Yes, Perfect Match, we dragged our feet. However, with this show, as you said early on in our recaps, the stakes being as high as they are makes for superior television.
Yeah.
I would say. It's a good idea.
This is the best dating show I've seen.
Wow.
I'm going to say it right there.
Up there with Temptation Island.
Oh, Temptation Island is good.
Yeah.
Anything where people are basically cheating on each other.
But not cheating on each other because they're technically broken up.
Well,
Andy.
no, just being presented with the option of cheating.
yes.
It raises the stakes.
Yes.
Anything with high stakes. This is why I like boxing. Boxing has high stakes. I don't want to watch a game. I don't need to watch a game. I can play a game. I like playing games.
Yeah.
I don't want to watch grown men play a game, but to watch grown men fight, and I hate to say it, my point is that many people like fighting. It's very popular. You think it's just chance that Floyd Mayweather was the highest paid athlete in the world for like 5 straight years?
Okay, so it's because of stakes.
It's because of stakes.
Okay.
People like steaks, and there's a lot of steak here.
Okay.
Medium rare steak.
You landed that plane. Okay. So we pick up with our cliffhanger, which I've got to say ended up being a little womp womp.
But it's good. I'm glad it was womp womp because I didn't want them to run off together.
Okay, so the cliffhanger is JR and Sandy meeting up. You did not want, I got to say, part of me wanted to just see that. But it's funny how quickly this felt platonic.
Yeah.
Considering there was a lot of chemistry between these two. I think this chemistry was pretty one-sided. I think Sandy is basically a professional level flirt.
Yeah.
I think she can make anyone think that they have a chance with her. I think that's her thing, is one of her ways. And I think it's probably served her very well in life.
Excellent.
But I got a feeling from the way JR was talking here that he was a little nervous. And if she had given him an inch, like a bit of like I've been thinking of you, he would have left with her. Do you think I'm wrong?
I think you're right. I think that JR knew, he learned that Sandy was a player.
Yeah.
And he learned that Sandy was
outplayed.
just having a little thing. She went out to see a movie. He was just a movie she saw.
Yeah.
She's not going to live in the movie theater.
The player was played.
Yes. And he knew it.
Yeah.
And players know when they got played.
Yeah, he did. Players do know when they've been played. And I think he almost respected it because he's probably done it so many times that he was like, I see you, player, you superior player,
Right.
you.
What she did was give JR the new taste that he was hungering for.
Yeah.
And now he's done.
Yeah.
It's like if you have a restaurant that you go to every single day, you go there for lunch. You're a regular, like, oh, hey, Andy, how you doing? The same thing, the usual. Yeah, the usual.
You did that for a little
I
while.
did
with
that,
the
but then
place
they jacked up. They took away the lunch special on me.
Oh.
How do they do that? I've been going to this place. I literally lived there every day.
Yep.
I knew them. I knew their
You
families.
don't take away a lunch special in this neighborhood.
I knew how much money the side business of the busboy made. That's how much I went to this place.
Okay.
And then one day they're like, "Oh yeah, the lunch special doesn't work anymore. You got to pay a la carte for these things."
Oh, and you didn't go back.
I never went back. It was dead to me.
Wow.
I couldn't believe after that many years of service.
Yeah.
They did me dirty like
No,
that.
it is wrong to take a lunch special away from someone, especially on the Upper West Side, let me tell you.
Yeah.
But continue with your point.
My point is,
JR.
if you're going to that restaurant for every day, and then someone's like, let's just try this new place. I want to meet you here. You're like, but I always go, this is my place. Like, no, let's try this new place. And the new place, you're like, oh, this food's better.
Yeah.
It's better food. You're never going back to the old place.
Yeah, or it's more interesting to you because you're so used to that place. Because I don't want to suggest that what he had with Sandy is better than what he had with Zaina. It was more that what he learned was that he is not ready to settle down with one restaurant.
No.
Clearly.
No. He wants to try all new restaurants.
Oh, yes.
Every day a new restaurant.
Yes. I've got to say, on the whole, I was pretty impressed with how Sandy, the player's player, handled this.
Yeah.
Because she was I thought she was gentle in how she did it. She was like, I mean, we're not leaving together and blah, blah, blah. Like she just said it sort of in passing, like gently, and it wasn't harsh. She was able to answer his, I think, unspoken question without forcing him to ask it because she's a player too. You know what I mean? I thought that she handled this in a way that spared him, actually. Like it showed her love for him, that she didn't make him say, so, hey, like, have you been thinking about me or any of that? She basically went there first. Yeah. I thought this was generous of her. She could have been more cruel.
Or maybe she just didn't want this and she didn't want to get involved with JR.
Yeah.
And she did it for herself.
Yeah, but I do think that there's a type of player that would enjoy this squirming.
Yeah, she's not that type. She's
No.
a high-level player.
Yeah.
She's looking out for herself. She knows that would be too messy. She doesn't want to deal with that.
Yeah, she's high level also in that she's self-preservational. I think she knows it would not make her look good to enjoy watching him squirm.
And remember, Sandy is an actress in this show.
Oh, 100%.
And whatever, to her credit or
No,
to
she's
not
an
her credit, however you want to look at it.
Sandy, you could argue, made this show.
She made the show. She was like the Jessica of that Love is Blind.
Yes.
Whatever.
Yeah, Love is Blind season...
Whatever it was. Five, I think.
I don't know.
5. It was
6,
5.
I don't know.
But she was acting
I think it was
this
6.
show. Jessica...
Sorry.
No, it was 5. Wasn't it 5?
No, 5 we didn't recap.
Oh, you're right. It was 6.
It was 6.
Then what was 5?
We were too busy. We didn't recap it. But I later on heard that it wasn't that great, so we made a good call.
All right, sweet. So anyway, my point is that Sandy's been acting this whole time. She saw this show as a kill two birds opportunity.
Okay.
I think she was looking for an out with a relationship with Nick. Mm-hmm. And she saw this show as a springboard for her.
For her Netflix
she's like,
career.
I am a Netflix star. I want to get mine.
Yeah.
And everything she does and everything she's done in this show. And I'm not saying there's no emotions. I know that her and Nick had a thing. I'm not discounting that.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that it's pretty clear that Sandy was like, I get to break up with Nick and I get to become a star. Mm-hmm. 2 things.
2 very productive things.
Yeah, very productive.
Yeah.
And when she does things in the show, they're with intention. Not with necessarily good intention for others.
Yeah.
But not bad intention.
Yeah.
Their intention for her goal. And her goal is to move on in her life and become a Netflix star. And you know what? Respect.
Well, so shall we place our bets now? What are the odds that Sandy doesn't ever appear on another Netflix show?
Absolute 0.
Yeah.
Absolute 0. Like the Kelvin 0. There's no temperature. Atoms have ceased to move.
Yeah, she will definitely be on Perfect Match next year.
Yes.
Right? Okay.
Everything. She's going to do the whole trifecta. Love is Blind, Perfect Match.
No, she can't do Love is Blind. You can't go on. It's Perfect Match that she would do.
Why can't she go on Love is Blind?
Because Perfect Match is the collection of previous Netflix people. Love is Blind are newbies. She can't go on Love is Blind because someone might have seen her on The Ultimatum and then been like, oh, you sound like Sandy from The Ultimatum,
right.
and I know what you look like.
But what about Temptation Island?
Well, Temptation...
Love Island? F-Boy Island? Any of the islands. Could she go on any island?
We're talking Netflix, Eddie, Netflix.
Oh, these are other shows.
Well, and Temptation Island supposedly has been picked up by Netflix, but I have yet to hear much more news than that.
Let's hope. That's a good show.
Oh, yeah. Same.
Temptation Island is the ultimatum of not Netflix.
Well, now.
Or maybe now
Netflix is really collecting. Okay, so where was I going with that? Oh, yeah, she's going to be on Perfect Match.
Okay.
And I have to admit, as much as we dissed Perfect Match, I would want to watch her on Perfect Match.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're off on a tangent, bringing us back to Zaina and JR. Zaina, there's a lot of build up to this, and they really made it seem like JR was going to propose. This was kind of artful. And I mean, JR, this is where he was a little like Sandy. He was a bit of an actor. Yeah. Was he really saying all this? 3 weeks with her was bliss. He loves her. She's grown emotionally. They feel closer to each other than ever. He apologizes for doubting her. He had judgments about why she wanted a proposal. He understands what she wanted now. He wasn't ready to receive her love before all this.
He's acting. He's giving them what they want. He's throwing the fans red meat.
Yes, there's a lot of tinkly music. He goes on and on about how great a wife and mother she would make, he envisions giving her 100% of himself.
I think you said 1,000,000%.
Did you say 100 million?
I said some
Seems
number
like
over 100.
But he's not at that place where he's able to give that to her. Andy, you said, girl, get yourself a non-personal trainer.
Nothing against personal trainers. Just this personal trainer.
This personal trainer. Zaina takes this unbelievably well. I wrote, what a class act. She hardly even seems to cry. We were amazed. But then when we see the reunion, I see this scene a little differently.
Yeah.
Because based on the fact that they continue to talk, she moves out, or one of them moves out like across the street. I kind of think that she didn't take this breakup seriously.
No, but also JR facilitated her not taking it seriously.
100%. He contributes to that, but it definitely takes two to tango.
Well, that's the thing. People are just like, oh, they're being so nice in the breakup. No, being nice in a breakup is being mean in a breakup. Because all you're doing is keeping the wound open.
Yes.
Close the wound. Let it heal. Goodbye.
Yeah.
Leave.
It sounds cold, but if you are the breaker-upper, it is part of your duty as an ethical person,
yes,
to not let them think that there is a chance to get back together.
Yes, and it's selfish.
Yes.
In the end, it's selfish. The times I've done it, I've thought to myself, what's going on here? You're being selfish.
Yeah.
I couldn't think of anything else. I'm not being nice. I'm not like, oh, I feel so bad for them. I want them. No, I am being selfish because I want to feel better about myself.
Yeah, because you don't want to feel like a mean, bad person.
Yeah.
Plus, part of you is sort of like, oh, this isn't a bad.
And it's nice. I want to get the things that I like without having to be involved too much.
Are you kidding? It's like a constant, like low-level ego stroke.
Yes.
Just that this person wants to still be with you.
And that being said, there is nothing against. As a matter of fact, I fully endorse staying friends with exes that you were good friends with, but not in the first 6 months.
Agreed.
Let it go.
Actually, that is a great segue to bring up our 5th episode ever. By the way, this is a long time ago. This is like 4+ years ago. Yeah. But episode number 5, I'll link it right here. Can you be friends with an ex? We talk about that, where we have Andy's ex-fiance on the podcast. I'll link it here. One of my all-time favorite episodes.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. So yeah, Zaina was super chill. And Andy, you said she'd gained true self-confidence through this, the most valuable thing you can gain more than love. And while I agree with you about that, I am not sure that that's what Zaina gained through this. We're going to get to that in the reunion.
She gained it momentarily.
Yeah, well, I just see this breakup differently now. Yeah. Now that we've seen it a year later, what that has looked like for them. I don't... We'll get to them.
She's working on it.
She's
getting there.
No,
she's going in the right direction.
With love. I love Zaina. Yeah. Like every
Zaina's
episode, great. Zaina's the one I would go for.
Queen
like
Zaina.
I am obsessed with Zaina, but I will get to her in the reunion, but I don't know if she found the confidence 100% yet.
I agree.
Okay, so now Mariah and Caleb. Andy, going into this, you said, what do you predict? They're going to leave single or they're going to get engaged? And we both predicted they'd be leaving single.
Wishful thinking?
Yeah, I think it might have been. And I feel bad saying we wish this couple didn't end up together.
Yeah, it's not out of malice.
No.
I think there is a lot of growth and self-discovery that needs to be done for
In
both
your
of them.
20s.
For both of them in particular, and
Yeah.
in your 20s usually.
Yes.
But I think for them particularly, and I think in this relationship, they are just, whatever level they're at, they just put a stopper at it. It's done. Like they're going to grow, like maybe they'll be great. And maybe their love will grow and everything will be happy. But as individuals, they had a lot more to go, and now it's stopped.
I completely agree. I think that the amount of growth you make as a single person is simply a different quality. It's a different like breed. It's a different species than the growth you make when you are in a relationship.
Yes.
Period.
Yes.
Period.
He's going to get Caleb's going to get all his confidence now from the relationship, as opposed to getting it from himself and from the world. Like Caleb clearly doesn't have the confidence to become the full Caleb. You know, so some people, it's like, yeah, there'll be growth, but you're not sure even with the growth, they're going to really excel.
Yeah.
I felt Caleb was like a superstar in the making. I felt like he was just like a mold. He hadn't even started a real journey of growth yet.
Yeah.
And now he's being stopped. This is it. He stops at this layer. And that's not to say that he won't be very happy in a way in this relationship. He'll be happy with love. Look, people make it work.
Yeah.
There's most relationships you see in the world are people who've made it work.
Yes.
And that's fine. But the fact is that making it work isn't the goal. The goal is for it to just be like, oh, this obviously works. And we're going to do everything we can to make sure we don't do stupid stuff to hurt this.
Yeah.
But we don't have to make it work.
Yeah. And actually, so to build on your point, I don't love the normalization of, oh yeah, it's so hard, but you make it,
No.
really. Like, here's the thing. Of course, marriage is hard. There are aspects to marriage that are hard. Yes, there's compromise, all these things. But as we've said countless times over the years with this podcast, the core of the two of you together, that should be easy because of the hardness of everything else.
The difficulty, I believe, of a relationship should be you balancing your time in the relationship with the other things in your life that you used to foster.
Yes.
I think that's the work.
That's hard.
If the work is actually making the relationship work, then there's a problem. I'm not saying every relationship has to be totally perfect. There's no work. Of course, there's work sometimes.
Yeah.
But if the main thing about the relationship is making it work, it's wrong. And I think a lot of relationships are the making it work relationships. And then eventually they get to a point like, yeah, we're good. But are they good or are they good? And I think that this is an example where they may be good.
Yeah.
Like in 10 years, maybe, yeah, we're good. But Caleb will never be the Caleb I would like to see personally.
Yeah. And I actually think Nick and Vanessa Lachey are kind of culprits.
I think self-admitted.
Yeah. All the time they make these remarks where it's like, trust us. Like, we understand how hard it is. And then Vanessa will be like, do we ever?
Yeah. It's like, we get it, Vanessa. Trouble in paradise.
But yeah, I mean, I obviously agree with everything you're saying. And in our defense, because I can picture some people not agreeing with us, this is something we prioritized when we were looking for our forever partnership.
Yeah. And like, I was going to go to the grave single if I didn't find it. And that's, look, some people, I'm not saying that everyone should have this attitude. Finding a partner in life is great. It's fabulous. But I have seen more times than not, people just say, time's up.
Yeah.
I'm running out of time.
Yeah.
This is pretty good.
Yes.
I'm going to make it work.
Yes.
I'm going to make it work.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, it's like trying to stick a Ferrari engine in a Honda. It's like, you can make it work. It's a little weird.
I don't mean to cast like doubt on this relationship because of course they end up together, and I don't, if that's what they've chosen, like, we respect their decision. Like, who are we? We don't know. We don't know them or their relationship.
Maybe they'll be the happiest couple ever. I don't know.
Exactly. So we'll circle back to them. But basically, he says he can't imagine his life without her. Her love is what he's never known was missing. She loves him more than he loves himself. I think these lines are very...
He's admitting it. He's saying the thing.
Her love is what he's never known was missing. She loves him more than he loves himself.
Is that good? Is that a good thing?
He proposes. She says yes, and we'll circle back to them in the reunion. Okay, so Shandy and Nick Lots of words with these two.
By the way, when I said self-confidence, I meant self-worth.
Oh,
they're cousins.
They are cousins, but I think both apply to Caleb and actually to her too, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
And it's addictive to find someone, especially what is she, 25 years old? To find someone at 25 years old like him.
She's 24, I think.
Oh no, she turned 25.
Everyone got older in the show.
Yeah, I think it can be addictive, especially if there isn't something overtly wrong with the relationship.
Yeah.
It is not easy to leave something like that, something that feels so healthy, but I do think it is stagnating their personal expansion, so to speak. That's all.
Yeah,
but we'll circle back to that.
We'll see where it goes.
Yeah.
So Sharleen, I'm officially obsessed with Masterclass. And I don't get obsessed with much. I know the word obsessed is bandied around a lot these days. But I am legit obsessed with Masterclass.
Masterclass is kind of life-changing. I mean, I feel like we've been watching less TV that fills our lives with or our minds with just clutter and negativity. And instead, when we replace it with Masterclass, which is learning and satisfying curiosity, I just feel like a more joyful, not to mention better informed person.
I feel like I'm cheating at life.
I
don't feel like it's fair. It should cost a lot more to hear the biggest, most famous experts in the world talk about the things they're good at and tell you how to do them.
So Masterclass is the only streaming platform where you can learn from 200 plus of the world's best. And we are talking legitimately the best. I mean, these are people who have become famous. They've become household names because they are so good at what they do. We are talking learning how to use improv to overcome your fears with Amy Poehler. You can learn about how to do stand-up with Judd Apatow.
And I've always thought David Sedaris is one of the greatest comedy writers of our time. And now I get to listen to David Sedaris talk to me personally about how to do comedy.
Our first masterclass was the one on gut health, and that was extremely impactful. It has changed the way we eat, it changed the way we shop for groceries, and we feel so much better.
My gut is pristine.
The next one on my docket is voice acting with Nancy Cartwright, who does the voice of Bart Simpson.
Don't have a cow, man. This is terrible. That's Guinness Book of World Records, worst Bart imitation ever.
You could use a masterclass.
I need to listen
Andy.
to that masterclass. You're right.
I just think it's so cool because for me, voice acting is something I've always been interested in, but I've never actually pursued or done anything with because it's felt really daunting. I think it's so cool that you can instantly learn from someone who's made an entire career out of this.
Yeah, and the other thing is it doesn't feel academic. Like when you're watching, you're not like at school.
No.
It feels enjoyable. And what a great gift for the holidays. Are you kidding me?
A gift that, by the way, you don't need to wait to arrive in the mail. So Masterclass always has great offers during the holidays, sometimes as much as 50% off.
Head over to masterclass.com/Shandy for the current offer.
Again, that's up to 50% off at masterclass.com/Shandy, masterclass.com/Shandy.
We built this city. We built this city with points on rent.
Yes, Eddie. Points on rent. Why?
Built.
B-I-L-T. Why is getting points when you pay your rent a novel idea? Doesn't this sound like something?
Think of this?
Yeah, we earn points on just about everything else we spend.
Do you know how many times when I was renting, I think to myself, why can't I get something for this?
Yes.
I can't even pay it on my credit card. Like I used to get points on my credit. I can't get anything.
No, you're just paying money. You're not getting anything for it. Meanwhile, when you buy a flight or when you are buying groceries, you are often getting points on all those purchases. It makes no sense to me that rent is one of our biggest expenses every single month and we're not getting points.
No, it's the biggest expense.
It's the biggest
It's the biggest American expense there is.
Yes, and that's where Built Rewards comes in. I think this is such a brilliant idea. And I think anyone paying rent should be listening up. With Built Rewards, you earn points when you pay your rent. And these are not, by the way, crappy points. You know, there's crappy points where it's like, what's the point of that point?
Yeah.
That point's not good for anything.
Not all points are created equal, let's be honest.
With Built Rewards points, you can use them not only towards your future rent payments, but you can even use them towards flights, hotels, fitness classes, and more. The list goes on. By the way, there are 500 airlines and over 700,000 hotels and properties around the world that you can use your Built Rewards points at. How cool is that?
Why would anyone renting not get Built? Give me a reason.
Well,
give me a reason.
There's no reason because it's also free to join.
It's free. Why are you not doing this? Oh, but you don't know about it. But we're telling you now.
Yeah, that's where we come
in. Now you have no
in.
excuse. So start earning points on rent you're already paying by going to joinbuilt.com/Shandy.
That's joinbuilt.com/Shandy. joinbuilt, joinbilt.com/Shandy. Be sure to use our URL, joinbuilt.com/Shandy, so they know we sent you.
Start earning points on your rent payments today.
Okay, so Sandy and Nick now. They talk about how they love each other with all their hearts. There's tinkly music. Everything seems to be going wonderfully well until he reaches into his pocket for what we later find out is like a
gun.
Some piece of paper with words on it.
Nice poem.
But she thinks he's reaching for a ring and she says, "What are you doing?"
What are you reaching for?
How wonderfully edited was this?
Brilliant.
This show is, I'm impressed with production on this show. It's A-team all the time.
I think they're just getting better and better. They've done so many of these shows now.
Yeah.
I think they were getting their feet underneath them.
Yeah, this was really good. First of all, the music throughout this show is such a distinct step up.
Actually good.
It's
like
good.
I would, if I just needed some background music, I might go with this.
Yeah. In fact, the only time sometimes where I wouldn't take a song seriously is when I saw the lyrics and I was like, oh, that.
Well, but sometimes the lyrics were tongue in cheek.
Yes. No, this show has it down. The songs, the music are way better than Love is Blind.
How do they not have the same team working on the music with Love is Blind as Ultimatum? How is it two different teams?
I don't know.
Just use the same team. Use the Ultimatum music.
Maybe it's the same team, Andy.
So they just don't like Love is Blind? They're like purposely shitting on it?
Okay. So she says, "What are you doing?" She says there are things they still need to work on. And he says, "Are those things worth the risk of losing me?" And she just says, "It's hard." She wants to be 100,000,000% sure. Oh, it's her who says 100 million.
Oh, right. It wasn't
Andy.
JR. JR may have said
Don't
100.
malign
Sorry,
JR like
JR,
that.
I apologize.
This kind of goes in circles. It's clear, finally he's like, okay, well, I have to take this as, it's over because clearly you're not telling me what I need to hear, even when it matters most.
Yeah.
And then she does this thing. Oh, Sandy. She does this thing where she goes, don't.
No, baby. Baby, don't.
And he says, don't what? What am I doing? And she says she doesn't want to see him sad. She wants nothing more than to walk out of there engaged to him. And he says, that's not true.
I got to hand it to Nick. Cool under pressure here. Like, this is a very, very, very upsetting moment for him. Everyone knows, most people, except you apparently. No.
What?
No, you've never been completely heartbroken, right?
Not in this way, no.
Yeah, okay.
But,
so most people
don't want you to out me like
how
that.
did you? Sorry.
I mean, I've been disappointed.
No, you've been mildly heartbroken.
Yeah, I've been. Yeah, one time I really had the rug pulled out from under me, but I, in retrospect, see it as a massive blessing.
Yeah, you're lucky. It's rough, but anyway, but also a learning experience.
Absolutely.
Anyway, my point is, he's going through what for many people is a moment worse than death itself. Like, there's people, honestly, many people who have just been dumped in like a very bad way. Like, not like just like, oh yeah, this relationship was taking its course, but like blindsided, like this was their world. They got dumped. They would in that moment choose death over that pain.
Yes.
That's how bad it is.
Yes.
And in that moment, he's got one-liners. He keeps it cool. He's not melting.
We were impressed with Nick here. I mean, you could tell that he had gone through the fire.
Yeah.
He was out the other side. The look on his expression, there was this calm, this clarity, this understanding when she said, "What are you doing?" And he was like, that, I don't know. It's like if in a dream or something where you are suddenly are like everything becomes clear to you, your mind explodes, or like you fall through a hole, like something that's just like,
it's like
supernatural.
Or
I saw it on his face.
Or you can make the war analogy.
Yeah.
He's the guy, like he's not the newbie who jumps in. They're like, "What's going on, guys?" We're like, "Oh, we're going to the front today."
Yeah.
And then they freak out. They go insane, which it's horrible.
Yeah.
He's the guy who's done 2-3 tours already.
Yeah.
And he's just sitting in the trench having a cigarette. Like, yeah, we got another mission out by the front today.
Yeah. Yeah, but what I like about Nick though, because I feel like that person's a little more jaded, understandably. I feel like Nick, it wasn't so much that he was jaded, it was that he suddenly got perfect glasses for his needs, his eyes, his prescription. He suddenly was able to see in that moment. And so whenever she would do what probably worked in the past, which would keep him clinging on, which is like, don't, or baby, I don't want to see you sad. I don't want to hurt you. There's nothing I want more than to leave here engaged to you. And he's like, that's not true. It was so simple.
Right.
He had suddenly seen it. It was really magnetic to watch this scene and feel a weird sort of like parasocial pride for him after his journey through this season. Because let's be honest, you love or hate Nick. I understand people have mixed feelings about Nick. No one can say that Nick didn't have, hands down, the hardest experience on this show.
Not even close. No one came close.
No one came close. Yeah, Mariah, you could say Micah left her in the dust.
Are you joking?
Yeah, there's no comparison.
Micah? They weren't even acquaintances.
Yeah. Yeah, plus Caleb and Aria, like that was never the thing that it was with Sandy and JR. Meanwhile, Zaina, who was the other side of the Sandy JR thing, she had Scotty. Yeah. You know, like Nick had it the hardest.
Yes.
And I also love how how do I word this? He doesn't lie about having grown more than he has, which I think some people have a tendency to do. They're like, oh, now I know. Nick doesn't talk about how much he's learned. He shows it. And in this moment, he showed it. Yeah. He showed it with his behavior, with his responses to Sandy, with the fact that he didn't let her like kind of drag him on further, just sort of like keep her claws in him. He was like, I'm done. It's okay. Yeah. I'm fine. It's over.
He's been through the worst
a
man can be through in this situation and in a very rapid time frame.
Yes. Nick basically says her words and her choice don't match up anymore. I wrote, she kind of behaves like a man.
I mean,
there's a funny meme going around that I saw, or maybe it was a reel or something on Instagram where it was like a guy the day before he breaks up with you and he's like, I see myself spending forever with you. Like, I love you so much, all this stuff. And then, he breaks up with her the next day. I feel like Sandy does a bit of that. A lot of men do that in dating today. A lot of mixed signals. They say something, but their actions are something else.
You know what Sandy is?
What?
Sandy's a man-eater.
Oh, it's been a while since we've called someone in our recaps a man-eater. The last person was Victoria Fuller.
Victoria Fuller.
She continues to man-eat to the very end of the scene. As he starts to leave, she holds on to him. She's like, baby.
You can't call someone you just broke up with baby.
No. And
baby is on. It's immediately revoked.
He says, what are you babying?
Yeah.
And she keeps trying to hold on to him. Andy, you said, let him go. And there is a killer shot here where he goes from his confessional to handing off his mic and then walking out a door in the back. It's all one shot.
It's, spectacular. In some ways, this is a mic drop moment in its own
Yes, a
design.
Mic drop off moment.
A mic, he's not dropping it the usual way.
Yes.
But he is. He's just like, you know what? He gave a nice little, slightly teary goodbye.
Yes.
Dropped his mic and walked off into the sunset.
Yeah.
It was a beautiful moment.
Totally. And meanwhile, Sandy's confessional, she just keeps saying she feels so bad. I don't know if she feels that bad.
I think she feels bad that she feels bad about him feeling bad and she doesn't want to feel bad.
It's not that I think Sandy's a bad person and I think she does love Nick a lot, but I want to tell the squirrel story. Can I tell the squirrel story? Because it makes me think of Sandy. Basically, we have friends who have a good-sized dog who killed a squirrel, in the park. And they were telling us a story, and I mean, it was really, I'm going to butcher the story, but basically, suffice to say, the dog kills the squirrel, throws the squirrel around, plays it with it, and then when it's done, it's like nudging the squirrel, like, come on, let's play some more. And it's like, and it's sort of like, hey, like it didn't mean to kill it, but it's kind of like, why aren't you coming back? Come on, let's play. And that's how I think Sandy's the dog and Nick is the squirrel.
Well, it's definitely not the other way around.
She's sort of like, come on, like there's more, we love each other. Yeah. But it's like her playing with him is not him playing with her.
She wants to kill her squirrel and chase it too.
Yeah, yes, exactly. Sandy says she deserves to feel her own when you know. I agree with that. I just think that they're just not right for each other. Okay, we'll circle back to them in the reunion. Now we have Aria and Scotty. Lots of tension off the bat, lots of tears before it's even begun, which to me is not a good sign. Not a good sign. I'm sorry. You want to spend the rest of your lives together? I do not care how tumultuous your journey has been to get here, although I do kind of care because I think if your journey has been that tumultuous, maybe you shouldn't end up together. But nonetheless, this should be a moment of joy. And instead it was so fraught. It was like, oh, I really want to be what I understand now, what you want from me. And it's like, oh, I've been wanting to hear these words forever. It's just so like, it didn't feel easy. Like there was like air, that there was freedom, that there was mutual understanding. It was just like, let's try to understand each other. That's not a place to go into an engagement from. I'm sorry.
I feel like going into an engagement, and I don't want to shit on the structure of the show or any of these shows where getting engaged is somehow that's it.
Yeah.
Getting engaged is like putting like a small down payment on something. It's not the end. Trust me, you can pull out. You just lose a little money.
And no, a down payment where you can get most of your money back.
Yeah, depending on
especially if you didn't buy the ring.
You can literally get your down payment back.
Yeah.
But you should go into this thing. Both parties should be full of joy and clarity. There's no like, oh God, crying and like, oh, but all these tropes about what a relationship should be and what I'm going to give you.
Yeah.
No, it should be like you both meet each other with smiling eyes and you're just like, this is it. Obviously we want this.
Yes.
This is not complicated. Get down on the knee and do it.
Yeah. I don't have many mixed feelings about Scotty. And it would seem people agree with us because not to talk about another TikTok that did very well.
Oh God, are we going to do this?
But we had a TikTok.
Well, we might as well talk about TikTok while it's still here.
Oh, do you really think that's going to happen?
50-50.
50-50 chance?
I think it's 50-50.
Wow.
Yeah, there's a lot of variables, including the Supreme Court. Think about this. Go back to 2008. Most of us are using iPhones probably, or we're just getting into the iPhone.
Okay.
Social media is like an outlier thing. We're like, social media. You got some Facebook stuff, check up on friends. Maybe you post something about your reunion.
Instagram has not come on the scene yet.
Yeah. A thing called TikTok comes around where you just watch really fast videos all day long and lose your mind. And now the Supreme Court of the United States is deciding its fate. What were the odds? Well, how could that have happened? How could we be in a place where this is happening?
Yeah, I mean, I can't answer
the
that.
The Supreme Court is dealing with TikTok.
Yeah, no.
Think about it.
No, it says...
You see, sometimes you have to think about things. But if you don't, everything passes you by and it seems normal. There's nothing normal about that.
You're right, Andy. Thank you for that much needed reminder today. It's not normal. It's not.
Good.
Okay, so basically, Scotty is saying he's sorry he didn't give her the reassurance she needed for not loving her the way she wants to be loved. In their trial marriage, he tried to give her the love she deserves, and she says she should have given him more trust. He says their greatest triumph is that they never walk away.
They never walk away. Isn't that great? Isn't that a great accomplishment to never walk away from something that should be walked away from?
Unbelievable. It's so fascinating to me.
That restaurant sucks, but I'm going to go there till the day I die.
How fascinating that during this proposal scene, that's what he says their greatest triumph is. I'm sorry, but that right there is mayday, mayday, walk away.
Yeah.
That should not be your greatest triumph.
No. Who are you doing that for?
Yes.
Who's giving you the medal for that?
He wants to be her protector, her peace, the man she runs to and not away from. He proposes, and I was shouting, don't do it, because it really looked like she might for a moment not say yes, and then she does say yes. Which was, it caused me physical pain watching her say yes to marrying him. Okay, so in the reunion now, Mariah and Caleb are still together. We see a cute reel of them, a little video montage thing. And they say that they're aiming to get married in September 2026. Aria kind of comes at Caleb here for accusing him of watching her stories.
Okay,
and then
let's
unfollowing
be
her,
real here.
And then following her again. Oh, this is where Aria...
You know what the biggest foul for Caleb was? Was unfollowing her.
If that's even true.
Right, but let's just say he did. He unfollowed her for saying he did that because he was worried or because he was something Mariah was saying. He was like, oh, this is bad. But it wasn't bad. What's the big deal? This is a friend of his. He's watching stories. I watch stories of people. Yeah. Like,
sometimes
cares?
I watch stories accidentally.
It's not like he's watching porn stories. Like she's got like an OnlyFans and he's watching that. He's just watching stories of her probably like, just like saying, hey guys, went to Costco today. Look at this great new product. Who cares? I don't know. She's doing Costco ads. I'm not sure why that's where I went.
Haul.
Yeah, but she's doing
an unboxing.
He's watching unboxings. Is that so bad?
Yeah, I think if he did in fact unfollow her, it came from the same place as him claiming that he and Aria never had an emotional connection. It was more just like self-preservational, like not wanting to upset Mariah. And that gets me back to the core issue I have with Mariah and Caleb is that it feels like he's always on his best behavior. Like he doesn't want to upset Mariah, and Mariah's the one keeping him in line.
Well, he's a kid.
Yeah.
She's his mother.
Yeah, we've said this many times. Yeah.
And he has shame. He feels bad. Like a kid feels bad. He's got a conscience. He's like, oh, I shouldn't have taken those things. That candy wasn't mine. I was told not to take that.
Yeah.
He feels bad.
Yeah.
But the things he's doing are not that bad. So what? So he had an emotional connection with Aria. Like, did he have to give Mariah all the deals? Like, listen, I have to confess, I had an emotional relationship with Aria.
Yeah.
I think this whole thing
Caleb
is bullshit.
Other than that, that's the one thing where you could be like, oh, Caleb didn't 100% tell the truth. Other than that, like,
he was afraid.
He was
afraid to give the guy a break.
Yes.
She was going to come after him. If he
she
had
came after him anyway.
She was talking to him 2 hours a night on the phone. She wouldn't let him out of her grip.
Yes.
And if he said, oh, by the way, while we're on the toilet talking all night till 3 a.m, I think I have an emotional connection with Aria.
Yeah.
No,
he's
there are
afraid.
things I've done in my life I don't tell you about.
Yeah.
What's the point?
I don't feel the need to be told it, honestly.
I'm not bad. I'm not really bad.
No, because the reason, like, to this place of growth and like of true, like I said, expansion, personal growth and personal expansion comes from feeling safe.
Yeah.
Feeling like you could tell me every little thing, but you also don't have to. Like, it does, because it's not going to be met. It's not like I'm going to be attacked. I love that I can tell you anything.
Right. He was afraid to tell her.
Yes.
He was afraid because he knew, that little kid knew that his mom is very strict. And he knew that the thing he did.
And the reason she's too strict is because she's insecure.
Yes. And if he had told her, he'd be like if we were on this show, I'd be like, hey, like, this is just a really cool girl. Like, I like her. She's good, but it's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
But like, I just want you to know. Like,
we are bonding.
Like,
I am putting a face mask on her face.
You'd have follow-up questions. Yeah, I think the face mask thing
I'm delicately painting face mask on her.
I'm not sure you would have gone for that. But my point is.
Oh, no, I actually think, honestly, that was I thought that was a sweet, intimate moment that wasn't necessarily romantic.
I think Caleb is not a villain here.
No.
I don't care if he's watching her stories. As a matter of fact, he should be watching her stories.
So the thing that bothered me the most about this is that Mariah comes after Caleb in this setting, saying she was blindsided by Caleb's emotional connection with Aria. And to me, this just didn't make sense, considering we'd just seen this video of them being so happy together. It's been a year. They're engaged. They're so happy. Why is she using this moment to come at him when they've clearly talked about this? To me, this felt performative. To me, coming to the reunion after a year of being together, you are a united front.
This, to me,
you should be a united front.
I completely agree with you. This, to me, was a betrayal.
It's so funny to compare our Mariah coming after Caleb here to go back to Love is Blind season 7 to Ashley's defense of Tyler at their reunion. You know, like, talk about a united front. Right, Ashley,
too united.
Yeah, overly united front. Ashley had Tyler's back no matter what. She was doing a lot of the talking for him. They had talked it out, and they were like, "We got this." Meanwhile, you look at Mariah and Caleb, and I think it's possible that Caleb knew that maybe they had talked it out. And she says, I'm going to talk about how hurt I was that you did XYZ. But to me, a year out, they're still engaged. This was not necessary for the crime committed on his part. I would think the reunion would be the moment where they undo the thoughts people had about them not being great together on the actual show. And it's like, oh, but look how beautiful they are. I get it now. Like, I was wrong. The show, it was an edit. I believe in them. But Mariah coming after Caleb instead only reinforced my belief that they are not ready to be together.
That's the thing.
You know, it was obvious why he would tell Mariah what he told her. I don't think it needed to be fact-checked in the way that it was. Not to say I don't love Aria. I really love her. God, their names great. Are so like, I mix them up. But I really like Aria a lot. But to me, this was unnecessary. Caleb was just so not the bad guy.
No.
Okay, so Aria and Scotty now. Aria admits that she said yes to the proposal because Scotty was saying all the things she'd been wanting to hear. It's not a good reason.
That's all you got to do.
Yeah.
Just say the things you want to hear.
And she reveals they're not engaged anymore. She called off the engagement a day later when she realized she did not want to tell her family.
Wow.
Her brother.
Oh, her brother would have been livid. Oh, let's talk about how happy her brother is now.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, celebration
He
time.
waited patiently.
He did.
He got what he wanted, which is, I think, what is right, which is that they're not together anymore.
Yeah.
We learned she had given Scotty an ultimatum to do couples therapy. He kept saying it would happen. It never happened until a year later, basically, when it was too late. And this gets really messy very quickly. She starts sobbing about how Scotty doesn't take accountability. Her grandma passed away. She had a miscarriage. She feels like Scotty portrays her as having given up on them. So I have to unpack this because note how on the defensive she is. He hasn't even said anything, hardly. But he's giving off this energy, this dejected energy, like she gave up on them, which I'm sure he has said countless times in many fights where he's gaslit her into feeling like she has given up on them. So she comes right out and is like, my grandmother died. I've suffered a miscarriage. All these things happened. He's acting like I gave up on us. I didn't give up on us. That is a sign of gaslighting right there.
Right.
She's already on the defensive. She doesn't need to defend herself.
Yeah.
It wasn't right. That's enough.
That's enough.
The
I agree with
relationship
you.
wasn't
Yes.
right. That's all you need to say. And I wanted to hug her. I wanted to hug Aria because she's been so manipulated in this relationship to always feel like she's in the wrong. Even when she's just looking out for herself and doing what's right for her, which is all she was doing.
Yeah.
Like, it's clear this relationship is not healthy for her. It has gone on way too long. She is not her best self or her happiest self in this relationship. And yet she's still like, I didn't give up on us. I swear I didn't give up on us. Oh.
Yeah, and Scotty doesn't give an inch.
No, he is ruthless.
Yeah.
Scotty scares me. I still maintain that. Even though I know in this reunion, he didn't have any majorly bad Scotty moments, which I think was just self-preservation.
Well, Scotty knows when to behave himself.
Well, exactly. Scotty actually, that's why Scotty scares me. Because unlike JR, where it's much more like he's more like a bull in a china shop,
Yeah.
Scotty's like a sly fox.
He's controlled. He knows when to keep it cool.
Yes, and he did keep it cool here. He says it's demoralizing to give someone everything they want and still come up short.
Everything. He gave her everything. He moved. Yeah, and it's funny that when he says give her everything, he's talking logistics.
Yes.
Right? It's just logistics.
Oh, totally.
I moved for you. And what was the other thing?
I forget, but it was like giving her, showing her the love. Blah, blah, blah. But the issue was always how they fight. It's the fact that he clearly gaslights her. Yeah. And like the frenzied energy we feel from Aria in his presence is so upsetting and so plain to see. There is no one who isn't celebrating them breaking up.
Well, you know what else? Did you ever see like genuinely good moments between them where like you're like, oh, this is really good?
No.
I mean, that
at
could have
least
been
Mariah and Caleb, you could be like, that day they went fishing.
Oh yeah, the fishing. I always think about the fishing. Every time I try to badmouth their relationship. Like, they did have that nice fishing day. That seemed nice.
Yeah, there's like a quiet peacefulness to them at times, and so I'm not going to take that away from them. I can see how that would. It's very calming.
Was there a moment? Even the picnic was somehow ruined. Like
Aria and Scotty, yes.
They don't have. We didn't see a moment.
Even the picnic.
How can you ruin a picnic? Only ants can ruin a picnic.
Yes.
Only ants.
Yes.
And even then,
rain.
Unless you have an umbrella, then it can be very romantic.
It has to be a very sizable umbrella. That has to be a big ass umbrella.
Yeah, rain does ruin a picnic.
Yeah.
No, but it's your fault for going to picnic when it's raining. Or I guess you picnic before it rains, and then the rain surprises you.
Yeah, and you make the mistake of doing what we always do, which is if you leave the house and it's not raining, you assume it's never going to rain. Or when you leave the house and it's raining, you assume it's going to forever rain.
But every time I bring an umbrella, the rain stops.
Yeah, of course. Well, that's how you get the rain to stop is by bringing an umbrella. Right. It's a small price to pay.
You're right.
Yes.
Good point.
I mean, I agree with you. These two just never had a moment where I felt even comfortable watching them, honestly. Like, let's put aside wanting things to be beautiful between them. It was just, let's find a moment between them where I don't feel like I'm going to throw up a little bit.
Does it not feel like a hostage scenario?
Yes.
Like he is a hostage taker and she is very susceptible to being taken as a hostage because of her father and her own issues.
Well, she admitted throughout the season that she doesn't she wasn't able to choose her father, and her father was not a good, figure in her life. So she doesn't want to make that mistake. She has a choice now. And so, I mean, I do think it's connected.
God, these fathers.
Sins of the father.
These fathers.
We always talk about
their
it.
shit together.
Get their shit together. Zaina chimes in now to say, rightly, that Scotty struggles with rejection and Aria didn't want to reject him. I thought this was very astute of Zaina to say this in this moment. And it was delicately put, but also got to the heart of the matter. Aria is afraid to reject Scotty because of how poorly he handles it.
Well, let's be honest. I think the reason she accepted the proposal was because she was scared of the repercussions of her rejecting him on national TV.
Yeah, but actually that's the place she should have done it, because how bad could he be on camera?
Yeah, but it was in her blood to.
Yes,
it's like she didn't think about.
She
the
wanted to
cameras.
protect him by saying yes to him on camera. 100%.
Yeah, she didn't think about the protection she had. It was in that moment.
No,
She's
she wanted
like,
to protect him. She was protecting Scotty.
Yeah, and she was protecting herself from the repercussions of not protecting him in that moment.
Yeah. Oh, 100. Yes. Yes. I'm sorry. I shouldn't be laughing. It's really dark, but yes, that was well put. It's so toxic. And so obviously toxic. I mean, I'm just so happy that it seems to finally be over. I mean, I hope so.
He licks, she licks. Everybody licks with Helix. I am going to state something here right now, unequivocally.
Okay, husband.
I have never owned a better mattress. Huh? See what I did there?
Yes.
A better mattress than Helix, because I am a side sleeper, and side sleepers, if the mattress ain't perfect, will wake up with some back pain.
Well, why would you get a mattress that is for all types of sleepers?
No.
Wouldn't it be better to take a quiz online and then be told what mattress would best suit you, and then that mattress could arrive in the mail to your door?
And I'll tell you something else. We had the box sitting there for a while because I was hesitant. I was nervous. I was worried about having a new mattress. I've had this mattress for almost 15 years and I felt it served me pretty well.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm going to have to take this mattress out, which that's a big chore.
Oh, yeah,
Put this new mattress on, and I'm going to have to test it for a bunch of nights. And I'm going to be like, yeah, I think maybe it's a little, I'm not sure. It's kind of nice. No. Night one. And I immediately was like, that is the best mattress I have ever owned in my life. No question. It wasn't nuanced. It wasn't subtle.
No.
And I'm old school. I was skeptical about a mattress in a box. But holy cow, this mattress in a box.
And by the way, with any mattress purchase from Helix, you get 2 free pillows. And these pillows could easily be throwaway pillows.
I know what they're thinking. They're thinking, oh yeah, the 2 pillows.
who
You just
cares
throw
about
those
the
out.
pillows?
You give them to Goodwill.
No, these pillows are epic. I was so impressed with these. It's exactly what I want. It's got height, but also squish. I want squish, but I don't want it to be so squishy that it's like flat.
Nobody is more particular about pillows than Sharleen.
It's entirely true. Literally, I'm one of those people that goes to hotels and like asks for different pillows. This pillow, it's shit. Like it's bumped my pillow. Like this is now the pillow I sleep on. So right now, our Shandies get 20% off plus 2 free pillows on all mattress orders.
Do your back a favor by going to helixsleep.com/dearshandy.
Again, that's Helix Sleep, HELIX sleep.com/dearshandy for 20% off plus 2 free pillows on all mattress orders.
Cellular fragility is not a thing for you and me. Take your Fatty 15.
Fatty 15, which we now take every single morning, and that I wholeheartedly believe in, because C15, by the way, is the new essential fatty acid in town. It is the first essential fatty acid to be discovered in 90 years, and it has 3 times more cellular benefits than either fish oil or omega-3s.
And everyone talks about those.
So studies have discovered the first new nutritional deficiency in 75 years called cellular fragility syndrome, and this is caused by a lack of C15.
And C15 is a sturdy fat that keeps our cells strong.
Sturdy. Who doesn't want a sturdy fat?
I want to be sturdy fat.
Yes. When you are deficient in C15, your cells become fragile, they age faster, and when our cells age faster, we as a whole age faster. If you've been experiencing fatigue, poor sleep, or generally just feeling haggard, it's very possible you are the 1 in 3 people who have cellular fragility syndrome, and C15 could truly improve your metabolic, liver, and heart health.
And Fatty 15 is science-backed, award-winning, patented, and vegan.
Also, in case you're thinking, oh, it's too late for me. I don't need to bother.
My cells are finished.
Yeah, they're already fragile enough. C15 actually repairs age-related damage to cells. preventing future breakdown. And so cool, you get the reusable bottle, and then when you get refills, they just come in a little packet.
They care.
So you don't, yes, I love this. So you're not getting a brand new bottle each time. I just think that's just such a nice little touch.
So Fatty 15 is on a mission to replenish your C15 levels and restore your long-term health.
Get an additional 15% off their 90-day starter kit by going to fatty15.com/Shandy and using promo code Shandy at checkout.
That's Fatty15, FATTY15.com/Shandy, code Shandy at checkout.
Okay, so moving now on to Zaina and JR. JR... He's very quick to throw Zaina under the bus here, saying that she wanted to get back together. He basically says that she didn't take the breakup on air seriously.
And we got to take these words at face value. I think there's some truth here.
That's the thing. So Zaina says, do you guys want to hear the truth?
Right.
And then she proceeds to tell her version of the story, which I'm going to be completely honest. I love Zaina, but I don't think it was as different as she thought it was.
Right. I think that there's a very clear picture here.
Yeah.
That
the truth lies somewhere between the two stories.
Yeah, and their two stories are very similar. So the truth is basically their two stories.
Yes.
It's very close.
Yeah. And there wasn't the right amount of accountability from either person. So let's unpack what we think happened. Okay, this is what I think the middle ground is. Okay, so he's like, oh, she wouldn't let me be, you know, she kept wanting more from me. She didn't think it was a real breakup. And meanwhile, she's like, you spent my birthday with me. You helped me when I was freezing my eggs. You were there for me. Like, we were talking on the phone every day. And I think the middle ground is that she kind of was keeping it going. She wasn't really taking the breakup seriously. And he was letting her believe that by not cutting it off. He was leading her on and she was asking to be led on.
Yeah. Yeah. It takes two to tango.
It does.
Not to beat a very cliched phrase, but this is a clear tango.
Oh, yes. That is one of the truest. I mean, all of these cliched statements.
They're all true. All cliches are true.
They are. She says that she wanted clarity. She didn't respect how he didn't want to give closure to a 3-year relationship. The word closure. Again, I love Zaina, but closure.
There's no such thing as closure. Closure is death. And even then you don't have closure.
Oh, I would say, yeah.
Maybe that's the
best
worst.
Closure you'll ever get is death. And it's not.
But you both have to die at the same time. And then you don't know what the closure is once you're dead.
Yeah, you get closure just because it's over.
Yeah, closure is only in the real physical world is where you close a box.
Yeah.
That's a closure.
I am going to be honest. I feel like he gave her the closure.
I think he wanted
the show, the breakup on the show. We watched it happen. Even in his acting, in the fakeness of him telling her all the wonderful things about her and then slamming a breakup on her. To me, that's the closure. Well, you don't want to be with that person.
See, this is the irony, and it's hard to sit with this because I want to say, "Oh, JR, that scumbag." And look, I think JR is a little bit of a scumbag.
We're going to get to the JR scumbag part.
But if you look at two breakups, you look at Sandy's breakup and you look at JR's breakup. Which is a better breakup? People are like, "Oh, well, Sandy, she was calling him baby and being nice and tender." No. Sandy's breakup was bad. JR's breakup was good.
Wait,
it's
really?
counterintuitive.
Oh, wait, why? Explain.
Because he told her how much he loved her and then he cut her off cold. Sandy told her how much she loved him and then she kind of was like, oh, but don't be sad. I kind of love you, but I don't want to do this. But don't go. Oh, but stay. Yeah. But I want to be with you. I wish I could be engaged to you, but we're not. But, oh, baby. No, JR was like, look, did JR go too far in saying the nice things?
Yeah.
Obviously. That was the bad part. But the actual breakup itself was like, this is not happening. Have a nice life. Here's a hug. Goodbye. That's the way it's done. Unfortunately, that's the only way it can be done. Otherwise, you get in the gray zone.
Yes.
The worst place for the person you're breaking up with. It's the worst place for them.
But I have to add that the breakup-ee is not responsible. Like it's the job of the breakup to maintain that black and white, no gray zone dynamic where you're like, don't call me. It's not that I don't care about you. I wish you all the best, but we cannot communicate.
Yes.
It's on JR to maintain that strong front.
The customer is always right. The customer is the person getting broken up with. They're always right. They're never wrong. So you have to give the customer what they need. And what the customer needs is complete goodbye.
How is she the customer? I didn't get that one.
Well, you know how they say the customer's
Yeah.
always right.
Uh-huh.
That's just another cliche.
Yeah.
Well, if the customer's always right, then you have to do everything you can to make the customer happy. And the way to make the customer happy is to not give them the thing that they think they want.
Oh, yeah. Wow. Ooh, Andy, you got there.
Yeah,
You got there. I followed
maybe.
eventually. Zaina says that JR is a liar. A con artist. He lied about everything with Sandy. She says she and Nick talked a few weeks back and agreed they probably I love it. They probably
I mean, probably.
I was
Probably.
relieved to see them say that because when we've been watching the show and they've been claiming, 2 kisses, she initiated the second kiss, blah, blah, blah. When literally in the preview, no, not the preview, the recap of Sandy and JR's
Counted,
relationship
7
at
kisses?
the top of episode 9, we counted like 5 or 6 kisses.
Ridiculous. If you're going to lie, let me tell you something. This is the true telltale sign that you've caught the criminal is when they're lying about the number of times they've kissed someone.
Yeah.
Because they're deflecting. It's a magic trick. It's like, don't look at my hand here. Look, I'm going to do all sorts of stuff here,
Yeah.
but the magic trick's happening over here.
Yes.
And they're like, oh, look at all these kisses. Oh, 1 kiss, 2 kiss. Oh, maybe
1, 2,
3
3,
kisses.
4,
We
5,
forgot
6,
1
7,
kiss.
8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
Yeah, and then
What?
f***ing.
Well, Sandy refutes this. She says, actually, this is so funny. This is the funniest part. This is the moment we laughed at the second hardest in the entire reunion.
Mm.
So Zaina has just said they probably f***ed. And Sandy's like, no. And JR is like, is in the middle of like responding to, and he's like, we didn't f***. Like he hears Sandy refuting it first, and then he's like, oh yeah, we didn't f***. It was very...
I mean, come on.
Here's the thing, they really might not have.
Yeah, but they did a lot of other stuff.
Yeah.
Are you kidding? Look, I'll give it to them. Fine. If they want to pull a Bill Clinton here and say they did not have sexual relations, I'll give it to them.
Yes.
Maybe there was not actual intercourse.
Yeah.
But let me tell you right now,
Yeah.
there was other stuff. At least.
Here's the thing is I don't believe that if they did have sex, that they wouldn't lie about it.
Of course they would lie about
Yeah,
it.
these 2 people, Sandy and JR, are 2 people who would lie about it.
Why would they
Meanwhile,
say?
Nick, this is what I love about Nick.
He would be honest.
I actually think Nick would
100%.
be...
He wouldn't help him. He couldn't help himself.
Yeah.
He would tell.
He would tell the truth, even if it would make him look terrible.
Like think about a world. I'm glad you're bringing this up. Think about a world where JR and Sandy are like, yeah, we did have sex.
and like that's actually, it's hilarious to even imagine.
Yeah,
Yes.
JR's like, yeah, it was good. It was really good. They would never admit it.
No.
They had sex. Maybe there's a 5. I'll give them 5. You know what? I'm going to give them 5%. I was at 80%. I'm going to give them now 5% chance they didn't have actual intercourse.
Nick chimes in here to say that if he and Zaina weren't in the picture, that's where things were headed. I mean, there's no denying that.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, that's where things in the alternate universe where they didn't have sex. Yes, they're also having sex in the alternate universe, in the present and alternate.
Sandy insists nothing transpired beyond kissing. And now Nick Lachey asks Sandy her take on the whole thing. And Sandy does what Sandy does, which she proceeds to cry and says, this is just a lot.
Oh, Sandy.
Sandy.
Brava.
I am a big Sandy fan. She is amazing.
She's
TV.
amazing. I mean, I wouldn't want to be on the business end of one of her relationships or breakups, but watching her from afar is quite entertaining.
Oh, she is very entertaining. She says she'd felt neglected in her relationship coming into this, hence it coming off as unserious. Sandy
Can I ask you a question
is
about
a
Sandy?
master at preserving her image.
What are the odds that Sandy can cry on demand? And I don't mean bawl. I mean just make a tear come out.
80%.
Yeah, I think somewhere 80 to 100.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think 90 actually.
About, maybe
95.
99 and a half.
Zaina comes at Sandy now for reassuring her that nothing was going on between Sandy and JR when Zaina didn't even ask for it. And this is the one thing Sandy owns.
Yeah.
This is
but
one
she
thing.
can. There's no way for her to get out of it.
Yeah. She owns, she's like, you're right. I shouldn't have done that.
Sandy's smart.
But Sandy, she can't leave it at that because Sandy can never leave something at her looking bad.
Yeah.
She's like, but behind closed doors, all we talked about was you and Nick.
oh, you're so much better than Nick. Oh, so much better.
I mean, Sandy is really a games woman.
She is.
She is a master at her craft, and I have to respect it.
Yeah. And you say, stay away. There should be a sign in front of Sandy. Like, beware.
Beware of
Beware.
man-eater.
Dangerous rip current.
The mystery now of who said JR was there on a hall pass is addressed. Turns out Zaina has a QR code on her nail. Was this for real?
I feel like if you're going to put a QR code on your nail, it's got to be bigger than what it was.
So you think this wasn't
It was a little bit of a letdown.
Letdown?
No, the actual content of the QR code.
Oh, so well, she was saying she had receipts.
Yeah,
of
but
the
I want if you're going to put a QR code on your fingernail, it's got to be bigger receipts. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, I feel like you're focusing on the wrong part of this. See, like to me, the receipts themselves were sort of overshadowed by the fact that she had a QR code on her nail.
I agree. Which brings me back to the point is if you're going to have a QR code on your nail, it's got to be something massive. Yeah, because putting a QR code on your nail suggests it's a you problem rather than a he problem. I feel personally if you're going to put a QR code on your nail and make a thing about the reveal, it's got to be a bigger payoff.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think I was just mostly hung up on the technology of the QR code being on her nail. But now that I think about it, it's not that crazy. I guess it's just like a decal.
It was an
decal?
interesting- yeah.
Decal? What do you call it? How do you pronounce that? A decal?
Decal.
I'm realizing I've never said that word
Decal?
out loud before.
A decal?
Decal.
A decal?
So this hilariously leads to a montage of JR saying playery things. And even we hear him say that he's basically got a hall pass.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, JR. And Sandy. Oh, Sandy. Sandy's just such great TV.
Yeah.
She sees how the tides are turning and she hops on a different boat. She tearfully says it's so hurtful seeing that side of JR. He leads with that, but he has so much more to say. And Andy, you said, oh my God, she's seeing where the tide is turning and she's turning on him.
Yeah.
She's
She
a master.
She saw the game board.
Yes. And
She
so
saw
she
it
was
from
like,
above.
she was like, so no, I'm the victim now. I'm also a victim of his playerdom.
Yes.
And JR retaliates now. He says it's not like he was the only one who was flirtatious. He says this to Sandy. Isn't it funny how they start turning on each other here?
The enemy of my enemy of my enemy.
I loved this. You know, they have been a kind of united front. Like, we love each other so much, supporting each other, blah, blah, blah. But the second she turns on him, he's like, what?
The hell?
Okay, anyway, Zaina ultimately says the show saved her life. We're going to circle back to that. So Vanessa and Dave now show up. I mean, good for them for showing up.
Yeah.
I mean, Micah and Chanel didn't.
Yeah.
Well, Micah and Chanel really, they were done with this show.
Yeah. They just got a little taste and they were out.
It's kind of hardcore, actually.
Yeah.
They really regretted signing up for this. So Vanessa comes in hot, saying pointedly towards Nick that he's looking for some kind of resolution. And Nick is like, no, I'm not.
Yeah.
And she's like, well, you did text me. And he says, I just asked if you were going to be there. And she said, because you wanted to clear things up. And he was like, I just, in general, it was so semanticsy. And I thought not a fantastic look on Vanessa.
No.
It set the tone for what I thought came off as a lady doth protest a little too much vibe of their appearance in this reunion.
Also grandstanding.
Yes.
Like she came in, she's like, this is our game plan. I'm going to go after Nick.
Yeah, talking about a united front. I mean, these two had a
Yeah.
united front until farts came into the picture.
Oh, God.
But I felt that this wasn't necessary. And it was from a strategic standpoint, this didn't work for Vanessa because it would have given her description of her scenes with Nick more credibility if she didn't come out right off the bat being like against Nick.
Totally. And honestly, Nick, he may have some flaws. He certainly has some flaws.
He's
flaws
the first
that
to own
he's
them.
admitted to. But one thing Nick is not a liar.
No.
He is not a liar. What he says is truth.
Yeah.
We have learned it. We've seen the receipts, so to speak.
Yeah.
And when he said, I was just texting you, like, I 100% believe
I completely agree. So she claims now that when they were in their trial marriage, he pulled her into rooms without mics or cameras. And she says, everyone has trauma. And she realized quickly that it was not a situation that was tenable for her where she could learn about herself or her relationship. And Nick, to his credit, admits that she was just trying to help. He was rude and cold, and I felt more of a bond with her possibly than she felt with him, and he opened up too much too soon. And now Vanessa accuses Nick of lying. He was only homeschooled for 1 semester, she says.
Oh, are you kidding me? If I was homeschooled for 1 week, I would say I was homeschooled. Who cares?
He says so he was actually homeschooled for 1 year. And
that's enough homeschooling to say you're homeschooled, especially if you're just trying to make small talk.
Yeah, I don't know why this was necessary. Vanessa says the difference between, because he was like, we were consoling each other. She says the difference is when I consoled you lashed out at me, and when you consoled me, I didn't, which I think is true.
Sure, yeah.
This was Vanessa's strongest case.
Nick admitted to it.
Yeah. I think that Vanessa is absolutely telling the truth. I understand that all of this was building up to an argument being made by Dave at the end, because again, United Front, which was that she didn't leave because he wanted her to. She was leaving of her own accord. That seemed to be the priority for this couple, was to paint a picture that it wasn't Dave being weak and wanting to ditch out on this whole experience. It was Vanessa's own prerogative.
Yeah, they had a united front. And I'm not saying that Vanessa wouldn't have left. Like, I get it. I'm sure she was under duress. I'm sure Nick was being very difficult.
But it was also, this is the thing, is for this couple, this is the smartest thing to have said.
Yeah.
So it's hard for me to separate that. I believe her that he might have, here's the thing about Nick. He was honest about how he was, probably rude and probably XYZ, but I don't think he was ever anything more than that. And I think he was going through a lot. And so I have empathy for what he was going through. And I would prefer a little more of a balanced honesty about the fact that Dave was also, like, he clearly said he didn't want to do this anymore. We have it on camera of him saying he didn't want to do it anymore.
He saw her with another. He couldn't handle that.
Yeah.
That was it. It was over. He was pulling the plug.
Yeah.
And Vanessa obviously wasn't having a perfect time.
No.
And she's like, okay, this is it. This is our alibi.
This experience requires getting through these hard times. That's the thing. That's why Nick got his clarity. That's why he got his amazing moment, with the proposal, and also now, like, he's like free, is because he really went through the darkest time. I think it's so telling that Vanessa leaves and they're still not engaged. A year later, they're still not engaged. Oh, they've gone ring shopping, and even he can't say it. Vanessa's the one who's like, we went ring shopping.
Yeah. There's been ring shopping.
They didn't do the thing. They didn't do the thing.
You know what this is? This show is like, you're afraid of heights, so let's go skydiving.
Yeah.
And a bunch of people got on their thing. What do you call it? A parachute? Oh yeah. The parachute. Yeah, that's luckily you have a parachute. And they jumped.
Yes.
And the parachute opened, they hit the ground. They're like, okay, now I have a much better perspective about heights. I think I've overcome some of my fears. Dave got on his parachute, looked out, is like, I'm good.
Yep.
I'm good. I got it. I understand this. I don't need to do it. I understand what I was about to do, and I'm totally cool now.
That always gets me, though, when someone's like, I understand what it is. I don't need to do it.
Yeah.
Just admit you're afraid. I don't know if I've told this story before, that my trapeze class story. Have I told this before?
You have.
On the podcast? Okay.
I think twice, actually. And I like it.
I'm going to tell it again because I think it's relevant.
3 times a charm.
The one time I took a trapeze class with 2 girlfriends, and one of them, when she got up there to go on the trapeze, she got up to the high point and she was like, I can't.
No.
And she's like, I'm too afraid. I'm afraid of heights. But I'll be down there and I'll be cheering you guys on. I'll watch. And so for the next 2 hours, she sat there and like cheered us on while we did trapeze. And what I love about that story is it shows the actual truth, which is that she got up there and she was like, I understand what this is, but I can't do it. I'm too afraid.
Yeah.
And that's what I was missing from Dave and Vanessa. They spoke about the experience like, oh, we got it.
Oh, yeah.
There was nothing for us to learn
They didn't
here.
get anything.
When Vanessa was like, there was nothing, this was not a good learning environment for me. I wasn't going to learn anything. It's just simply not true. It's simply not true.
Yeah.
Even if she had learned how she could talk back to Nick or tell him that, even if it's putting Nick in his place, she would have learned about herself through that. Instead, she quit. And so did he. And the proof is in the pudding. A year later, they're in the exact same place as when they went on the show.
Totally.
So there's a funny moment where even Scotty says everyone's shitting on Nick a bit too much. And Vanessa Lachey, this was the moment we laughed at the hardest in the whole episode. She says, nobody's shitting on anybody. Ha 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 ha.
That was amazing.
We laughed so hard. We rewound this 4 times to rewatch it over and over again because I think it's so interesting that the show decided to air this. They showed this.
Why?
It wasn't the comment or the laughter. It was the laughter transition into a straight face, which was giving off an energy of just like inauthenticity. And I thought it was so interesting that the production showed
that was hostility.
Yeah.
There was hostility in that edit.
In that edit. I agree.
So unnecessary.
It was so
They could have so easily cut when she was still laughing.
Yeah.
Or just not shown her face at all.
Yes. It was such a strange choice.
Such a strange choice.
Maybe I'm putting too much into this, too much stock, but I will say that what they did was with that slight edit, I felt that they weren't in her corner.
Or maybe Vanessa has such respect for the work, has such respect for this show and the success of this show that she's like, keep it in. It's good.
Okay, so Sandy rightfully chimes in now to say that they're leaving, that Dave and Vanessa's leaving created a domino effect that really, it sucked for everyone else. And I'm glad she said this.
Yeah.
Because it is kind of like a team player thing.
Yeah.
Like you sign up for this show, like it really does cause a ripple effect negatively for everybody else. And Nick says, hey, them leaving was the best thing for him because he was in the darkest place and now he's in a great place. And what
Totally
bothered
agree.
me here is that Dave was like, pfft.
Yeah, Dave, who are you to pff? You got to earn the pff.
Dave hasn't earned any.
He didn't do anything.
No, he quit.
He quit. He
crumbled at the
ran
first
like
day.
a little child.
He didn't have the game with girls that he thought he had. He came out guns blazing. He was like, oh, I think Mariah's attractive. Oh, I think so-and-so. He's like, oh, I lead with humor. Like, I got this. Like, I was quite the ladies' man. And then we see him hit, swing and miss over and over again. And suddenly Vanessa's connecting with Nick and he can't deal. Who is he to say about Nick? Like, pff.
I said he didn't earn the poof. He was not close to a
We
poof.
agree. And now Dave insists on clearing up the fart misconception.
Oh, Dave.
I want to like Dave. I want to like Dave. I really do.
I want to like.
He's not. He doesn't make it easy.
We wanted to like Dave too.
I really wanted to like
and
Dave.
I'm going to tell you something about farts. Farts have a time and a place.
Yes.
And sometimes, if well executed, whether it be the farter or the discussion of the fart itself,
yes,
it can be genius. It
Yes.
can be the funniest thing in the world.
Agreed.
This was the worst time, the worst place to talk about farting and talk about her farting.
Yes.
Do you think Vanessa went backstage and she was like, nice, good clothes, good clothes?
Yes, so basically,
There was a fight about this discussion. Why did Dave think that was his comedic moment? That he was going to throw her under the bus and talk about her smelly farts? No woman, I don't care if the woman is obsessed about her own farting. No woman wants to have her smelly farts discussed on national TV as her closeout.
Oh, it was such a bad call. What he should have done if he really wanted to talk about farts was just say, it's not true. Like, I love it when she farts. Like, that would have been enough. You just do that. It's not even funny, but at least you're like doing the thing that you went there to do.
Or throw it in the middle. Don't make that your closer.
No, you don't then be like, oh, it's not that I don't like it when she farts. It's just that her farts are so smelly. Like,
oh, come
what?
on. Why would you
Who
do
says
that?
this?
Now everyone who sees her, they're going to think about her smelly farts.
It
That's all I'm going to think. If I met Vanessa now, I'd be like, smelly farts.
I mean, Dave doing this really just was the nail in the coffin for me. Like on an opinion I had about him that was already kind of strong. Him doing this shows to me a lack of good judgment.
And also, where's the ring? You know what he did? He ran scared right back to the exact place they were before they went on the show.
Yeah.
He didn't run scared to marry her. He ran scared. Oh, I want to go back to that place.
No, he
The
says
safe
he wants
place
to marry her.
where he's not engaged. The safe place where she's not hooking up with other guys. The safe place.
Yeah.
Oh, Dave. Oh, Dave.
Dave almost like you really have a strong reaction to Dave, actually.
Well, I see in Dave, look, everyone reacts most strongly to the things that they feel are weak in them. And I have in the past, I don't believe I have anymore. I think I've grown out of it, I hope. But I have in the past, in the distant past, before you, I have had some of those tendencies.
Yeah.
The running scared in those kind of situations.
Yeah, it's like, oh, I see her with someone else. And so, yeah, I want her more now.
Of course. And the falling back into the same place, even though I thought I had grown, but I didn't take the journey, as you said.
Yeah.
But I thought I had taken the journey.
Yeah,
I didn't. I just got
you
scared.
saw the journey, what it looked like, and you're like, yeah, I'm good. I learned the lessons.
Yeah.
I read the Cliff's Notes.
Yeah, I didn't do the
Cliff's Notes
trapeze
Canadian?
act, but I said that I did.
Cliff's Notes Canadian or what do you say here? Cole's Notes? Cliff's Notes.
Cliff Notes.
Cliff Notes?
Cliff Notes. Cliff Notes.
Okay, sorry. Yeah. He read the Cliff Notes and felt like he read the whole book.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Wow.
Sorry, no, because in Canada we say Cole's Notes.
I don't even think people talk about Cliff Notes anymore.
But,
now that I think about it, the poor Cliff Notes company, they must be completely out of business.
Oh my God.
Like you could just go, or maybe they went online. So now the best place to find out about a book is going to cliffnotes.com. Right? Because then you don't have to search all over the internet to find.
Yeah, but you wouldn't even do that because now you would just go to
AI.
Chat GPT
Write
and
me a
be
book
like,
report.
I don't even want to read the Cliff Notes. Cliff Notes. I just want the essay, the actual assignment to be done.
You don't
for
have
me.
time to read the Cliff Notes. That's too much reading.
Yeah, you're too busy on TikTok.
Just give it to me. Just feed it to me.
Sorry, I interrupted you talking about Cliff Notes, Cole's Notes. What was the big point, the grand point you were making just now about Dave? Oh, how you see in him.
Dave is the weakness that I think we've all had.
Yeah.
I think Dave exhibits weaknesses that are pretty universal in men.
Yeah,
at
I
least
think
American
anyone.
men. I don't know. I
Yeah.
can't speak for other cultures, but I feel like that's the thing. It's like, how many guys have I known who've been like, oh my God, she's with another, like even people they've broken up with fully. And they're like, oh my God, I saw her with another guy. I got to get married to her now.
Yeah.
How many guys are like, oh, I miss her. I see her. She's out dating other people. Now I'm going to get back together and go right back to the rut we were in.
Yes.
Not even get married. Just go to the rut. Let's go right back to that rut.
Yeah.
And then
but
they
I'll
get
tell
back.
her I want to get married because that's what it took to get her back in the first place.
Yeah, exactly. You think in the moment. You're not thinking ahead. You're like, what do I feel right now? I feel angry. I feel jealous. I feel like insecure.
Yeah, and instead of working through those emotions and unpacking it and learning and growing from it and working on yourself, you just try to put a Band-Aid on it by getting her back. And it's honestly, in many cases, lying to her. But saying now, you want to marry them. But like, I think it says it all that they're still not engaged. I'm not saying that they won't get engaged because I think eventually he'll break down and do it. I just think that he's not actually working on himself, but he's pretending that he is.
And I'll tell you something else. I think, and we've seen it in one other show, I think the couples that come on these reunion shows that are actually solid are the ones who don't sling shit at anybody else.
I agree.
Garrett and Taylor on Love is Blind, another Netflix show, obviously in the family. Garrett and Taylor, they did not say a single bad thing about anybody.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, I think Garrett came to the defense of someone. I don't even remember. I forget the show already.
Another Nick.
Another Nick.
Yes.
But in this show, right away, like shit's being slung.
Mm-hmm.
What does that say? Why is that your lead? You should come on and be like, look at us. We're great.
We don't care.
Who cares about what happened? I don't care about Nick.
Yeah.
I don't care about anyone on this show.
Yeah.
I care about the fact that look at us. We're great.
Yeah. It was more of the sleight of hand that you talked about.
Yeah.
It was more like, no, look, blah, blah, blah. Nick did this and no, this all happened and no. And it was, in my opinion, distracting from the fact that like, if they were just so blissfully happy together, it wouldn't matter.
Wouldn't matter.
In my opinion.
The happy couples don't talk much on these reunions.
It's
not
so
a lot
true.
to say.
It's so
just
true.
a lot to show.
Okay, so we circle back now to Sandy and Nick. He says he's working on his drinking. He's had to take a hard look at himself and his habits over the last year. And Sandy concurs with this. Turns out she helped him through some of it.
Yeah.
And she says love was never the problem with him and with them. And Nick admits to having been emotionally aggressive towards her.
Yeah.
And she says she's exhausted with her relationship with Nick. And
I believe her, by the way. I believe that there was some exhaustion, but again, it takes two to tango.
Oh, I think that he is not easy to date.
I think he's not easy.
We've said before, Nick is not easy to date. And he himself says right here, being in a relationship with an artist is hard. He wouldn't make a good husband to a lot of people, but he'd be an amazing husband for the one right person. We learned now that he's seeing somebody.
That's nice.
What I like about Nick, I mean, it sounds like we're defending Nick a lot, but I see there's so much humanity in Nick and so much desire to improve.
And honesty.
I
love honesty. You know what I hate about these shows? I like it and I hate it. Yeah. I hate how we're trying to figure out if someone's a good or bad person.
Yeah.
Like with JR, I was like, is JR a good person?
Yeah.
I don't know, but they're all lying.
That's the thing is JR is so interested in making you believe that he's a good person.
Right.
And I think it was so perfectly done when he was like, no, I didn't say that. Hall pass this. Oh, yeah. No, I'm a good guy. And then we get this clip of him, leading with that side of himself. And he's forced. Even then, he didn't take accountability. Even then, he was like, taken out of context.
He had a comeback for every single thing Zaina said. When what he should have done eventually has been like, listen, like a lot of stuff has happened. You did bad, I did bad, but I love you and I hope the best for you. And that's it. Like, but he kept defending. He's like, no, but you did this and I didn't do this and you did this.
Yeah.
And that's not a good look. And also with Scotty, I just had to bring back to Scotty one last time. When we started this show, I was like, Scotty seems like a good guy.
No, you didn't. You said Scotty was hiding something.
Oh, no. I'm
you said there's no way that guy exists. He's not.
I'm talking about like the first 10 minutes.
Okay, sure.
And then I was like, oh, he's lying.
Yeah.
This is all an act. If you're going to have to date somebody, and I'm not saying the actual person, I'm going to talk about the type of person. Do you date a Nick, a JR, a Scotty, or a Dave?
Oh, wait, Caleb isn't on the mix?
No,
because I want Caleb.
I know. I'm not. It's too easy. It's too easy. No. You don't get Caleb.
You can't. He's on one of those sofas.
No one gets Caleb. That's too easy. But I go Nick every single time because if I don't like what I get, I'm going to break up with him. With JR, Scotty, and Dave, I don't know where I am.
I don't know if Dave doesn't deserve to be put in the same bucket as Scotty
something
and
about
JR.
me dating Dave, it doesn't feel good. just the hypothetical of it. But I don't like being in a place where I don't know what's going on. With Nick, I know some days it's going to be chaos. Some days are up, volatile, down, up, down. But at least I know it's an honest bad.
Yeah.
As opposed to is this good or bad? I don't know where I am.
Totally. I completely agree. So in the final bits now, we learned JR is not seeing anybody. I think that's...
Oh, he's seeing a lot of people.
Yeah.
He's seeing quite a number of people.
And Zaina says to wrap, JR is not a bad person. Because she shat on him, but she was like, oh, he's not a bad person. He did help with her injections when she froze her eggs. And now JR gives her this look and is like, yeah, that's why it's not fair to say all the mean things you said about me, because he was like, I would do anything for you. And she gives him this look. And I really wish that this didn't happen, this interaction, because I had a moment where I saw them look at each other here and I was like, oh, it's not over.
Yeah.
It's not over between these two. She talked and talked and talked about how over it is. And I really hope I'm wrong. I desperately hope I'm wrong. Because Zaina made it very clear how over him she is. But to me, the fact that it was so charged, she was so charged towards him, so intent on him knowing how over him she is.
I know.
I don't feel that she is.
I would never put a QR code on my fingernail for someone I wasn't totally over.
But it was to come at him. Oh, no, it wasn't to come at him.
No, it doesn't matter what it was for. I
don't even know.
What I'm saying is, if you're over someone, you don't put a QR code on your fingernail.
Andy's wisdom of the day.
Applies to everybody.
Okay, and at the end, Nick and Vanessa Lachey earn their bonus by plugging an Ultimatum game. App.
This game looks like it sucks.
It looks really bad.
Who wants to play this game?
Final thoughts on this show. I think it's very interesting that most of the couples, at least the ones we watched on the show proper who didn't leave, did not end up together.
Well, it's kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy, isn't it? Why would you go on this show if you weren't willing to kind of let go of it?
Yeah. I guess it's kind of the point.
Yeah.
And in terms of couples that did end up together, okay, so two of them, I assume Micah and Chanel are still together. Obviously, Vanessa and Dave are still together. I do wish Mariah and Caleb the best, honestly. As much as we like criticize and, you know, dissect the ins and outs. I mean, if you were to compile the not greatest moments of any couple and watch them all next to each other, you would be like, oh, that couple's not going to work. So we do wish them the best. But I generally think all the couples that ended should have ended.
Agreed. And the ultimatum has served its purpose.
Okay, Andy, that is a wrap for not only our last recap of the Ultimatum, but our last episode of 2024. Shandies, thank you so much for following along with us. And if, by the way, you are new here for these Ultimatum recaps, consider subscribing, liking, hitting the notification bell, following us on Instagram and TikTok while you still can. Get it and generally do all the things you do to support a podcast you enjoy. Thank you so much for spending part of your December with us. And we'll see you in the new year here on Dear Shandy. Bye-bye. Oh my God, she just got up. She knew. Ruby. Oh. But what about mommy?
What about mommy,
Ruby, what about mommy?
What about mommy? You really want to go to mommy, don't you?
Come to mommy.
Don't you want to go to
Ruby,
mommy? You want to say
on.
hi to mommy.
Ruby, come on.
Wow.
Yay. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you in 2025 on Dear Shandy. Bye-bye.